I feel like this one hits especially close to home. It seems like my human experience has been that of tremendous ongoing accusation. And where I've been weak and where I feel like the Lord is allowing me to be a leader in weakness is seeing that humanity, us as a people, his people, need for someone that has known us deeper than how we've known ourselves to actually come in and judge how we've been accused and break the shackles off at that place. Someone who knows you deeper, and he is the only one who knows us deeper. And so it seems to be in my life, from what I understand now, that he's allowed me to endure through so much accusation, continuous accusation, and has not delivered me from that because he is cultivating an authentic need, hunger to know myself deeper than the accuser accuses me. Because I feel affected by the accusations because I don't see the truth about myself, right? That's what makes me weak. That's what makes me the one in the darkness that needs an illumination so deep that it breaks the accusation off of me once and for good. I don't think I'm the only one. I think he's just allowing me to be the leader in this space where it seems like there's this heart cry in the church to be set free and to be brought back to knowing ourselves as fearfully and wonderfully made before we were brought into the world and deceived to believe that we weren't enough. Before we were brought into the world, received accusation, and in the darkness started to believe that we were lacking. It will be the one who knows you the most, the best. He is the only one qualified because he knew you before you were formed. So I believe that he's allowing me to endure, to cultivate that need. And in that need, grace is empowering me to look to him to know the truth about myself in a way that is so deep that no accusation can reach that place. Because I think what we've done in the church, we've felt ashamed of our own weakness, our inability to see past a certain depth. And so we've been trying to put on what God says about us. We've tried to put on how God sees us. But this knowing has not been produced, and so we are not set free from accusation. We are not set free from feeling self-conscious. We are not set free from these sinful behaviors that we felt ashamed of because he hasn't produced the knowing. He must produce the knowing in us of who we really are to him. And he is the only one qualified to do so. It's a very weak position. It's a vulnerable position, but to me, it's correct. It's true. So if you are going through intense spiritual warfare, accusation, I believe it's not for you to fight back. It's for you to surrender. And you're surrendering this, I don't know myself deeper than this place where I feel accused. And I can't just put on the clothes. I need to know myself. And in that way, I believe that in our weakness, he will be the strength that is perfect for the weakness. Because his strength says, I see you deeper than this. I see you so deep where self-consciousness, lack, it cannot reside. And so think anything accusing you of not being enough cannot live this place, cannot survive this place, this atmosphere that I believe that he is wanting to take us, because there is this heart cry, and I feel like it. I feel it for the church, like for the body, that we were crying out to be free. In bondage to all these practices that has us putting on clothes, right? And we have the appearance that we're making progress, but I don't think we are. Because we're still in the same shame cycles. We're still in the same loops of being accused. And because we don't know ourselves deeper than the accusation, we're caught up in that. And we are crying out to be set free from that place. And I believe that what will happen, what is required to be set free, the freedom that we were crying out for, is to know that the one who knew us before we were formed said, "You are fearfully and wonderfully made." See, it's not a positive affirmation. These are just the clothes that we put on. It's not something you clothe yourself with. Because we're trying to put new clothes on top of grave clothes. Ashamed that we're wearing grave clothes. Ashamed that we cannot take off grave clothes. Ashamed that we don't know ourselves deeper than this place. We are the weak ones. It will be the one who knew us first. The one who knew us first knew us the best. He sees us deeper than our behaviors. He sees the heart. He sees past what man can see. You see, the man has looked to man with all of the things that they can see and has come up with man solutions, which is just basically cosmetic. It's trying on different clothes, trying to think different things. But at the core, you have these subconscious beliefs that were there before you started to put on all these things. He will have to do it. He will have to produce the knowing in us. Because the measure of freedom that we were crying out for will require him to produce the knowing that goes beyond the accusations that we have had to endure. The spiritual warfare that has come in to squeeze us seems to be designed to squeeze out what we've subconsciously believed about ourselves. See, it's when you are in pain, what you really believe and where you really are is going to come out. Now, when this comes out, it's our inclination to try to cover that with something. And in this way, I don't think that praise in the storm is very effective if it's being used as trying to put new clothes on top of old clothes. Ashamed that we can't take off the old clothes. This will not be us clothing ourselves. This will be us surrendering to the stripping and finding that he finds us lovely to him. Knowing, and that knowing producing a result, an increase so grand, so great, that no accusation has any place in you, where you're able to actually truly rest in righteousness and wholeness, knowing he sees me deeper than I could ever see myself, knowing that he will clothe me in custom-made garments, but it will not be on top of these grave clothes that I feel ashamed about having. So the stripping seems to be very, very necessary. But to get to the core of us, where we have nothing to offer him, where we feel the most vulnerable and the most weak, the truth comes out in that place. We need him to produce the knowing of us deeper than where the accusation goes. Because that's what I believe, that this measure of freedom that the church is actually crying out for, what we are praying for, is going to require. It's going to be requiring him producing that awareness of who we are to him and who we have always been to him. Not when we said yes to him and said the sinner's prayer and did all of the things. Not when we began our Christian walk, but always. Always and forever. because it needs to go back that far. It needs to go as far as it can go. And he is the one that knew us before we were formed. And he said, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. But this is not an affirmation to tell yourself, right? Because you're just going to try to clothe yourself with that, ashamed of what you subconsciously believe. No, he's like, I will produce this knowing in you that sets you free from trying to cover yourself. I know I need it in my life anyway, because I have faced exhausting, tremendous, ongoing accusations towards myself, towards me. And because I've been in the dark, I've not been able to get past that. But I believe it's been cultivating this need for him to show me who I really am in him. And I think in this place, when it talks about faith being the substance of things not seen, what we hope for, it's seeing ourselves correctly. It's seeing ourselves as the substance of things not seen, meaning he produces the faith in the place that we can't produce it. Right? He is the author and the perfecter. He who began a good work in you is faithful. He is faithful to complete it. It seems to all begin with sight, perspective of oneself. If you don't see yourself correctly, you're not going to see your neighbor correctly. If you don't see what he sees, you're not going to see anything correctly. And so we are brought to a place where we surrender. And he will produce it, the faith. And we will see that we were the substance. What he saw about us was the substance of things not seen. And what will be pleasing to him when he talks about in the word, faith is what pleases me, it's because it's the work of his hands, not ours. It's him saying, I've always seen you correctly. Now I'm going to grow the faith in the place that you can't grow it, where you cannot cover yourself, to show you the truth and for you to know the truth. You were always lovely to me. So we talk about faith like in this way of like producing an outcome or something. I think it all begins with your perspective of you and him. And that's the faith that really needs to be produced. Because all of this covering that we're doing, it's not effective at setting us free. And the heart cry in us is demanding more. But it will be the place where we have the least to offer. Because that's what we really believe about ourselves. Whenever we have nothing to present, nothing to cover ourselves, we have believed shame. He said, I will bring honor to this place. Of all the places in you, I will bring honor to this place where you've believed shame. Deep calling to deep. The depth of him calling to the deepest part of you. Transcending everything. Because it's not just when you accepted him in the church or you started to do all the Christian things. Because what happens if you stop doing those Christian things? No. Then it's contingent upon you doing all these Christian things. No, you need to know the one who knew you first. The one who knew you like no one has ever known you before. The one who sees without shadow needs to produce in you the knowing of who you are without shadow, without wrinkle. So humbling.